Hey guys, welcome back to a video about Burning Abyss again. I know it's been a long time since I last video again. I've been dealing with a few bits here and there. I finally got my office sorted out, so hopefully I should be making more content in the near future. So today, I've got a deck list of a few remote duel locals. It's always been changing through a few cards here and there, but I think I've rounded up the list to a decent sort of consistency to power ratio, as well as being kind of budget, and then also having a lot of fun playing with it, because there's many decks which you can just play and win but not enjoy your gameplay. This is a deck I'd highly recommend to anyone who just wants to have a good time, learn a new deck, and also do okay in locals and possibly when regionals come back up. If you get lucky on a day, you could go on and top a regional with this deck easily, as well as a new support coming up in Phantom Rage, which helps this deck a lot, including Zeus and the new Phantom Knight cards. So let's just get right into it. Start off with the main deck. So first of all, we start off with a free tour guide. Amazing starter. There's not much else to say, and yes, I know I got 3 different rarities. I was meant to have 3 supers, but I sent one off to a mate thinking I was getting another one in the mail. That never showed up, and then my mate traded me a secret, so now I've got a secret, a super, and a common, so that's a lot of fun. Then we got the Terratop package. Very nice, but the only reason I'm playing this card at the moment is because I got an ulti of it. If I didn't have the ulti, I probably wouldn't play it at this point. It's a very good card, don't get me wrong, but I draw Takatombog more than Terratop, and it annoys me. If this came to 2 or 3, 100% play this, but on a 1-to-1 ratio, it's personal preference at that point. It's an amazing starter, which doesn't use normal summon, but it does require a brick in your deck, so just take that into consideration. Now, something else which I've put in, which isn't normally seen in my deck list, is I'm playing a Greffer, Armageddon, and a Rota for them too, as well as some of the PKs. These will send a key piece of my deck, which I'll get onto later on, but they're just extra starters. In this deck we have 7. So we've got Terratop, Free Tour Guide, Armor, Greffer, and Rota. 7 starters I think is fine, especially since one of them is a search card for your starters and one doesn't use normal summon. So in this deck you got 5 normal summons, which I think is round about enough. In 45 cards I maybe bump up to 6, but I'm happy with how it is right now. Then on to the Burning Abyss numbers. We've got 2 Seer, only 1 Graph, 1 Rubik, 1 Farfa, 1 Skull. So the reason I'm playing 2 Seer and only 1 Graph is very nice to summon off of Tour Guide, but after that you don't really want to see it unless you are blind milling it off a Dante, or it's just there to hit off a danger, to get a Farfa to cause interruption, or get a Skarm for a tour guide. The Seer is there because the recursion play with Seer and Dante is just stupid. There's been games where I've lost outright, but then I top deck Seer, set it, and since it's a simplified game state, Seer and Dante create such just advantage and just protection where you just do not die, and you get an extra turn or 2, and then that is just everything, because you get the Seer, Dante comes back out, you got Dante in the field, you draw one of these 4, or one of these 6 other than the one in grave, and you got yourself a Beatrice, which sends off a starter from your deck. It causes interruption. It also, if you haven't used Cherubini, you can summon that from the extra deck. I'm not playing Purple Dante because the extra deck space is very tight due to a few choices I've made. We'll get to that later on again. So that's the BAs. So now the PKs, we've got 1 Cloak, 2 Boots, 1 rank up magic, 1 Shade Brigandine, and 2 Fogblade. So you might be thinking what I'm doing with this. You'll see it should be the next engine. I'm liking this monster lineup where I can draw one or I can mill one and I'm still fine. I can still draw 1 or 2 and still be fine. So I can still have access to Rusty's accessing them from the deck. The issue is when you get through all your monsters, which does happen occasionally. These are kind of just stuck in your deck other than search them off as monsters, but if you've banished them for Allure Darkness, it's kind of impossible to get them back without playing Levier, but I can't play them due to space restraints. Shade is also just in there for an extender when and where it's needed. So now we get into the next engine, which I think is actually the highest ceiling engine at the highest power level, but it's just a bit awkward getting into sometimes. Playing 3 Orcust Nightmare, 2 Simple Skeleton, 2 Wand, 1 Dingirsu, 1 Babble, and 1 Crescendo. Just like with Seer and Dante, Symbol and Dingirsu is such a strong loop where you banish Simple Skeleton, you bring back the Dingirsu attaches Symbol, and that Dingirsu stays on the field for 2 attacks or 2 destruction effects because you just attach a Symbol with a Dingirsu. And if you've got Babble set up, you can just go on your turn, Symbol, bring back Ding, Ding attach Symbol. Your opponent's turn, they attack into it, they attempt to destroy Dingirsu or destroy a card in your field. You detach the Symbol, Ding dies. During your opponent's turn, Symbol, bring back Ding, attach Symbol. So now it's a 2/6 body, just keep on recurring, keep on just putting on pressure. And worst case now, you can just not attach the Symbol and then just send a card, which is stupid. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal is just amazing in this format at the moment because Dragoon just dies to it. There's a lot of other boss monsters which just die to Dingirsu send. And you don't need to worry about losing the Simple Skeleton because we play the 2 Wand. I had to bump this up to 2 because there's many times where I've drawn this and I just can't play because of it. But there's been many times where I've drawn one and I sent the other and I can extend out my backside. I can just make a stupid board and my opponent just can't play through it. Gizmix in there because there's a nice... It's another piece of just recurring resource which applies a lot of pressure to your opponent because if you summon this on your opponent's turn, they have to deal with it. If not, they're either losing the monster on their turn or I'm linking this off and then summon it again for an extra body. Babble and Crescendo is explanatory, and Nightmare, I'm playing it as a 3-of because I want to draw it. The best opening hand in my eyes is Tour Guide and Nightmare because during a combo, Tour Guide, Nightmare, and then a BA or a level 3 extender, because then you can end on Beatrice, Rusty, and then the Babble play to bring that Dingirsu to and summon VFD. I believe that is what you need for that combo for the easiest way of access. You can still do the combo with just Tour Guide and Nightmare, you just don't get the Beatrice out of it, but I really value the Beatrice in this format just because it just recurs some resources by detaching the Dante, sending any card I want. So if I got my Babble, I've already banished my Nightmare, I can just send another Nightmare for next turn, I can send a Wand, I can send a Skeleton, I can send anything I need. And that is very vital in, well, at least this deck. So now we go into the hand traps. I'm playing a very light hand trap lineup just to minimise spacing in the main deck. Just playing 2 Ash, 2 Vela. I would play 3 Imperm and probably 2 Ash if I had the Imperms, but currently I don't. But this seems okay to me. I was playing Draw in the main deck, but there's been many times where it just doesn't work. It just doesn't come up enough, so it's been relegated to the side deck. And I put Revelas in because I've been playing against a lot of Numeron, Eldritch stuff, and then you also got Dogmatica Invoked, which you hit the Alistair with this, it is a 50-50 if it's good or not. Where Droll was very good against that matchup, but this just hits a lot more, which I always put forward the versatility of cards instead of just the power of it, because I'd rather have a card which is decent in majority of matchups instead of having a card which is good in 2 matchups but cannot be used in any others. So that's why I played Vela in the main deck over Droll. Then we got some extenders. We got the Edgemp Sabers. We got a Nessie, a Swoosh, a Jackalope, and a Mothman. I wasn't playing Mothman before, but because I have very little when it comes to extenders, the Mothman just helps so much. Just that extra name for dangers is just pitching a Nightmare off of a danger is amazing. Summon the danger, and now you've got your whole Orcust engine going. Pitch a Scarm off of one. Now you got turn or plays the next turn. You pitch a PK. Now you got another extender by getting Shea Brigadine or getting Interruption through Fogblade. Yeah, just pitching a little bit, summon out a Fiend from your hand. It is very versatile with this engine. I wish these were at more than one, especially these two, but if they're legal, we kind of have to play them. So now we've got into some just extra spell cards. We've got the Foolish Burial, of course. We've got 3 Allure Darkness because everything in this deck's dark, basically, barring 4 hand traps and 2 monsters in the form of Terratop and Takatomborg. Everything else in the deck is dark, so you're always going to be alive with this if you have a monster in your hand. And the last card is a Cool Weather Grave. I haven't tried this out much, but I want to give it a try in my next 1 or 2 locals where it might come up and might not. Worst case scenario, if they don't have a hand trap which can be hit by Cool By, I can use it as interruption on my turn, or in my opponent's turn I mean, which is very nice. It's just very hit and miss with it at 1. So that's my main deck of 45 cards. So let's go on to the extra deck. So we played 1 Dante, 1 Beatrice, 1 Dingirsu and 1 VFD. Bumped Dante down to 1 because in this deck you don't really need to. It's nice to have 2. You can take out a certain package in this extra deck and play 2 and play Levier as well. I've got this one here. I was playing my side deck a little bit because there'll be some matchups where my package in the extra deck doesn't work against. Well, I just side that out, side this in. I mean, I got extra versatility in them cards. Dingirsu, amazing card. Outs a lot of cards in this game. There's almost no card which Dingirsu can't out in this metagame at the moment in time. And then True King of All Calamities is a busted turn 1 play. You just summon Dingirsu underneath Rusty. You get a send 1, a pop 1, and then you rank up into True King. And then you have a True King with 2 materials underneath it, which just blanket prevent your opponent from activating cards in their possession. Not just what they control, in their possession. So it's hand, deck, extra deck, graveyard, field, banished. Everywhere. If it's their card, they cannot use it under BFD. So now we've got a Cherubini, a Barricade Ball Blocker, a Galatea, an IP, and a Phoenix for my Link 2s. Cherubini is self-explanatory. Barricade Ball Blocker is the reason why I like to open Orcust Nightmare, because I'll just go make Dante have a seat underneath it, go Dante and Cherubini into Barricade Ball Blocker, go Chanic 1, Seer, type Dante, Chanic 2, Dante type Seer, Chanic 3, Barricade, Pitch, Nightmare. Then I make my Beatrice, and then I go Nightmare, Send Wand, 1 bring back Nightmare, and now I got Galatea, and I can go off, or I can go straight into Rusty if I need to. I have a lot of versatile plays in that situation. Galatea, playing Orcust, you have to play Galatea. IP because it's a nice backup for a first turn board. IP going into Unicorn, pitching a Seer to summon a Dante from a graveyard is so strong, where you just get so much advantage off of it, you kind of just snowball from there, as long as your opponent doesn't open the nuts. Phoenix, you kind of need to play it in every deck what can summon 2 monsters on the field with different names. It is just generic removal, which every deck kind of needs. Then for 2 link 3s, we've got a Unicorn and a Rusty. Unicorn, summon off of IP, shuffle things back into the deck, pitch cards for extra value, such as Graph, Seer, Scarm, Nightmare, Gizmek, just 3 discard at that point. Anything really. You can pitch a Farther and get 2 interruption, remove 2 cards with that. And I just love the synergy with just discarding stuff to a graveyard with the Nightmares in general, but especially the Unicorn on my opponent's turn. Then the Rusty is just a stupid card. Shouldn't come back off the ban list, but it did. It means that we can make VFD. It means we can just... our normal combo doesn't work. Okay, just go into Rusty, get 2 Fog Blades, wall up, and then just proceed next turn. And then just last minute Monsters of Oversold. Kind of need it to end games, especially since we don't have a access code talker in this list, because it is a very expensive card and we don't have Vertail Anaconda or Dragoon as well, so I just need extra ways to finish my opponent off before they can just get into a simplified game state and then summon a monster which I just can't deal with, like Dragoon in most cases. So then that's 12 cards in my extra deck. The last 3 cards I play is a Cyber Dragon Nova, the Intis, and Mechara. This means I don't lose to Dogmatica Invoked straight away. So what happens is, if they go in for the Shadowgo, the loot, they send this Gizm, they send Al Capone, the one searches for the trap, gets this Gizm, but Maximus sends 2 cards from each player's extra deck. So what you do is you send the Entis to get a pop, and then because Cyber Dragon Nova says if this card is in your possession, it's sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, I believe. Yep. By your opponent's card effect, I get to summon a Machine Fusion monster from my extra deck. So what I do is I go Chainic 1 Nova, Chainic 2 Entis. And at that point, he probably has a Mechara on the field. If he doesn't, this is just absolutely free. But you bait out of a Mechara with an Intis, and then you just summon your own Mechara. And anything they do from there, now you can just have a free negate. And worst case scenario, you can just use a Mechara to beat into the window they summon, if they do summon the window. And if that happens, just attack into window. If they go Alistair, you can Mechara negate that Alistair, and then he has to have another monster for the Mechara negate. So as long as you can bait out of a Mechara negate before, or if they just have the Alistair in hand and nothing else, you just win with this. Then after you do that, you can just keep on going. You can summon Armageddon Knight and be fine. You can summon Greffer, you can summon Tour Guide, you can just pop off. At that point, you just have to deal with Fleur de Lis, which is easy. You can just make a bit and negate it if you've already dealt with theirs or their window. But yeah, it is very strong, this package, especially if you go against Dogmatica. And worst case scenario, if you don't, you can banish these 3 targets off of Gizmek for free, which is very nice, where you don't need to sacrifice any part of the extra deck, really, with this. So that's my 15 card extra deck. And then we're going to the side deck. This is just very thrown together, this side deck, because I am not too caught up with the meta completely, where I know that Dogmatica Invoked is running around, I know Eldritch is running around, Dragon Link's there somewhere, Infinite Noble Knight's there somewhere. I just haven't seen them much other than Dogmatica Invoked and some Eldritch here and there. So I play 1 Pankratops, 3 Drow. Drow is kind of needed in this format now. If I do go against Dragon Link, it just stops their turn, really. If you partner this up with any other hand trap, it ends the turn. This sometimes just wins you the game, just by stopping them searching for a turn after their first search, can just win you the game. Then Pankratops is just very solid. That's same with the Dogmatica board again. You can just drop this and now they have to deal with Pankratops because Pankratops just deals with so many cards. It's insane. If you summon this, bait out the Macabre, or say if you got Pankratops and Dark Ruler no more, you Dark Ruler, you special Pank, and now they can't activate Schism, because if they activate Schism, you just pop with Pankratops. And the only thing at that point they can do is summon Fleur de Lis if they have it. And if they do that, you're baiting out 2 cards just right there and then, which is very nice. Then for some back row removal, we got the Harpy's Feather Duster and then 3 Cosmic. I was main decking 2 of this at one point. I really like it in the main, but because we're already at 45 cards, I don't want to extend it even more to make it more inconsistent with getting to our first turn boards. But this is kind of needed in this format. Against Eldritch, it's very strong, hitting their trap monsters before they can summon, so they can't get the effects, or just chaining it onto a Sanguine or just any of their traps or spells, so they just don't get their recursion. Which, if you can deal with their recursion, Eldritch is a very easy match for this deck to deal with, because you just slow their recursion down a slight bit, Cosmic 1 card, or Evenlium, or just slow down the recursion enough. Seer and Dante, Skeleton and Dingirsu will just gain you so much advantage off of that, where you can just start snowballing them. Even when they get to having 2 or 3 set, and then just a Golden Lord in defense, as long as you have a Cosmic Cyclone, you should be fine just by pushing through the board. Especially when you bait out things with I'm trying to think of an example here. Normal Summoning Tour Guide. If he imperms that, that's fine. You got an extender for it? No? Okay, you kind of rough there, but Eldritch isn't probably going to kill you in 1 turn. Just play with your cards properly and try to get yourself into a simplified game state where this deck just shines. There's not many decks that can just grind as hard as this deck, because we just recur from the graveyard constantly and constantly. Just keep on adding back cards from the grave, Skarm Searching Tour Guide back, getting another Seer which just recurs more stuff from the grave, Skeleton bringing back Galatea or Dingirsu, Galatea shuffling back Nightmare and Wand, so you can reuse them again to send more cards from the deck to the grave, to banish them, to then bring back more cards and recur more cards. There'll be many times where you just have so much advantage where you just can't lose in some games. Of course, you get a few hands where all the engines just don't work together, which does happen from time to time, but I've had that happen to me once or twice in, I want to say, about 4 or 5 tournaments. So I think that's kind of okay, especially for a budget deck like this at this moment in time. Then we got 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Evenly, and then the Order. Dark Ruler, just easy go second card, deal with a lot of cards on your opponent's side of the field. Evenly, you have to partner up with something. So if you go Dark Ruler Evenly, that's stupid. That shouldn't be a combo, but it is. If you go Pank and Evenly, special Pank, battle phase, attack into something, pop something else, end of battle phase Evenly, is very strong especially against like the synchro builds where they end on Savage Dragon, Herald, and not much else. Pankratops deals with the board by itself, but Evenly just makes sure that they have no recovery. I mean, at that point, you just set up a Dingirsu in your graveyard with a Skeleton and a Rusty, and then you just win outright, unless they top deck the nuts. Then the Order's in there because I like to have it when I'm going first. I never like main decking this unless I really need it in certain formats. Like in Frog, I would probably main deck Order, but in this you don't need it main decked. You like it there because it stops Dark Ruler no more if you need that for that. It stops Harpy's Feather Duster, stops Lightning Storm, stops Cosmic. It also stops starter cards like Nadir's Servant and Meltdown, where not many other cards can just blanket negate them all. So orders are very useful in that situation, and because we don't play many spells, it doesn't hurt us much. The only time it hurts is when we got BAs in our hand and we want to summon them. We have to normal summon them, but that rarely comes up. So that is the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's been a while, but hopefully there's a few people still watching. Let me know what you want to see next. I'm going to see if I can get some more videos sorted out for the near future. Hopefully maybe get some games in, so I can play and explain my thought process behind like each move, give my thought process on how I play the deck, because in a way I play this a little bit like how I play Block Dragon BA, where I take my own sort of twist on it in my head, where I can see a few moves where some other people might not be able to see, and hopefully I can just broaden people's horizons and hopefully improve their game, but just by giving them the knowledge of, oh, that is a move you can make, and that can give you that, and that. That opens up so many different paths to just win the game outright. So hopefully I can get that sorted and hopefully be a bit more regular with my uploads and not let you guys wait for 2 months. So on that note, take care, guys. See you next time.